I got away with everything under the last boss, and it wasn't good for me at all. So I want guidance. I want leadership. But don't just like boss me around, you know? Like lead me. Lead me when I'm in the mood to be led.
I love The Office. The Office is so good.
Right.
That's y'all. Lead me
when I'm in
the mood to be led, and I'm going to question every single thing.
No one ever said question.
But I want you to be a leader. I want you to have I want you to be a leader, but I'm giving you no authority.
I didn't say that at all.
You have authority. No, you have authority. It's just like
you were the only one who said unconditional. But yeah, well, so what that means though is that, and this is the conversation that it comes back to with black and white submission. We had this conversation with her before. Is she said that it's a spectrum. This is why it's actually not a spectrum, because if we're in a relationship and there's one situation where you're like, actually, you know what? In this situation, I'm not going to be submissive. That just means that you're the boss. And what that means is that you get to decide when you're submissive and when you're not. So ultimately that means that you're deciding in every situation. At any moment you can say, not today, buddy. So actually, you're the boss. So that's why it's in black and white.
If y'all talked about it, then there should not be any other question on towards it. Like, okay,
why do I need to talk about it with you
for example,
if you're submissive to me?
Here's my example. A lot of people here have been hurt. I can bet you that. Have been misled and put in a horrible situation. Me, myself, I could speak for myself. I've been submissive to a man that was only putting me in bad situations. So now I'm gonna ask you, like, what is your intention with this before I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. If it's something simple like take your shoes off, sure, you got that. I'm gonna take my shoes off. You want to see my feet? You got that.
You want to know something? You know when it's the most important to be submissive? When it's something big.
Of course, when it's something big, like, okay, we're about to go and, I don't know, rob this bank down here, and I need you to go to the left wing. I'm not going to ask, why do you need me to go to the left wing? I'm going to go to the left wing, and I'm going to take care of what I need to take care of.
I mean,
okay. But if they're like, oh, I need you to, I don't want to take it there, but I need you to sell your body so that we can buy a house. Be for real. I'm supposed to follow you. I'm supposed to say, with no question, yes, I'm going to go sell my body so that we could get a house together, Daddy. Okay, I'm so submissive to you.
So when we're talking about this, I don't think, like you mentioned, robbing a bank, criminality, that would not be, like, your man is not living in a virtuous manner.
But which man? Because there's so many different types of men. Even though you guys like to collectively gang up together, that doesn't mean that there's different types of men or not.
Basically, is that you're taking it to some extremes, and obviously within the context of the situation, within the context of the conversation, we're not talking about asking you to do absolutely heinous things like that. We're talking about within the boundaries of a normal relationship.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to ask their wife to go and sell their ass on the street, and nobody's going to ask their wife to rob a bank. Although if you did do it, that's pretty based. If you did to hide the body to rob the bank, that's based. But nobody's going to really ask them to do that.
Yeah, so. And one thing on that.
So I've just met multiple people like that.
Hold on. So, like, if you were to ask men who want a kind of more traditional dynamic, and they want their woman to be submissive to them, and they want to lead, I can't imagine you could find any man who would be okay with the following scenario. So, I mean, taking your examples to even more extreme, what if your man tells you to go jump off a bridge and delete yourself?
I'm supposed to be submissive to him.
No. Any man who's in favor of a submissive dynamic is going to say, no, that is beyond the scope of what we're talking about here when women should be submissive.
So maybe that's the confusion between today's man and a different man. No, because today's man will put you in the worst scenario and then expect you to be submissive.
What kind of guys are you dating?
Okay, but there's different type of people in the world.
So just to be clear, you've dated multiple men that have tried to prostitute you? I would have no issue with you not being submissive to them then.
I would, okay.
In fact, you should break up with a guy who's trying to get you to become a prostitute.
And
That's not a man of virtue. But
how are you to determine that in the first 10 minutes? Because you said that we determined that in the first 10 minutes that we're going to fuck with this guy or not. And then also, if you just walked into the house and someone says, take your shoes off, just walked into the house and they say, take your shoes off, and you don't ask why, Isn't that the same thing as if you were with a man that had horrible fucking thought processes and thought like, oh yeah, like the only way for us to get money is if my girl goes out and fucking tricks niggas, right? So you
just like speaking, don't you? You just like speaking.
No, but I'm making a point and you're trying to dismiss it.
That's actually
Nah,
okay.
I'm
Make
with
the point.
you.
Make the point.
Yeah, I mean, look.
You have to be cautious in this day and age. That's all I'm saying.
I think the conditions aren't based on what they're asking. It's based on how dominant are you. How dominant? Like, if I have to pay my own things, if I'm taking you out, I'm not going to be submissive. But if you're paying my bills or you're doing what you're supposed to do as a man, you're going to get blind submission. How dominant are you? It depends on how submissive you are. Are you going to take me out and make me dates, or do I have to ask you to take me on dates? That depends.
So,
that's what it really based on.
You decide.
Right. It's
Exactly. So you're the boss.
No.
Because if he's not dominant enough,
it's
then
about picking the
you'll
right
decide whether
partner.
you're submissive.
Don't
or not.
women have more options?
What do you mean in terms
Don't
of
women have more options than
in terms
men?
of sex? Yes, but no dating. No, that's not true.
So
Men have
when you're
more. Yeah, 'cause
dominant,
the man
does
gets to
dominant
choose.
means 24/7 dominance? Like complete dominance, the way submission is black and white, right?
Yeah.
So your dominance, like 100%, go as I say, I'm going to take care of you, do what I say. You know what I'm saying? And the submission is black and white, like either yes, master. There's no scale in it. That's what y'all saying. It's either like
If your boyfriend or husband is asking something that contravenes your moral or ethical code, in this case prostitution or self-harm,
And something
then,
that's it's
then like one, that should be the end of the relationship, and two, no, you shouldn't do it. But when we're talking about submission, typically we're talking about like decisions that would be within like a sort of socially acceptable and common purview.
But
like
there are
decisions
girls
about
that will do that.
decisions about the children, decisions about the household.
And we can't really have hold on a second. We can't really have the conversation as well if every time we want to have a generalized conversation, it gets taken all the way to the extreme. It's like impossible to have the conversation. So
Is it because
Nobody's
there's
asking
nothing
anybody to jump off the
generalized
bridge.
about it? There's so many different type of people.
I guess that happens all the time then.
Yeah, nobody's asking anybody to jump off a bridge. I'm not going to say no based off what you're asking me, but I might question you based off what you're doing for me and how is your life. If
Not
you're-
even for me,
But it also
but just
comes
like
down-
in general for us. Are you
For
doing
us,
anything beneficial?
Right? Are you a good person?
It also
Are you
comes back to
successful in your
the
own
the
life?
person that you pick as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because
saying. It's about picking
when
the right partner
When it
to be
comes to submission,
submission.
though, if you say, "Oh, well, he made me do this," then kind of the buck stops with you because you chose a guy who would choose to
but if
prostitute
you said that
If
you
have
wouldn't,
such
then
a
you're not
poor,
submissive.
And that's
I was
true.
having a conversation with her. If you have such a poor judge of character that you like were to choose someone like that, then kind of falls on you, right?
Right. I don't think you have to choose to be submissive, but choose who you're going to be submissive to. That's what
Yeah.
I agree. That's what it
I
is.
agree
It's
with
like,
that.
I'm not going to be submissive today. No.
That's
I'm
where
not
the
going to be submissive
conversation-
to you
Right.
because you're not shit. Like,
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
why you
like,
need
It's
the
not about-
conversation.
It depends
It's
on
about
who
the
it is.
person.
Right. You got to pick the right. Everybody got to pick the right partner for sure.